Living Local presents Biz Buzz 413 with your host, Jill Monson.
And before we get started with today's episode of Biz Buzz 413, a couple quick thank you shout outs. Tiger Web Designs, thanks for making us look awesome on the World Wide Web. A thank you to my company, Pop More, confidence coaching and training done differently. And of course, a huge thank you to livinglocal413.org. Welcome to Biz Buzz 413. I am so honored and grateful to be your host. My name is Jill Monson. I hope we've already gotten to know each other. And if we haven't, find me because I love getting to know new people. This podcast is part of a bigger initiative called Living Local 413. If you're not familiar with Living Local 413, it's the brainchild originally of Bill Cole. I know he's got a lot of people aboard and a bunch of colleagues supporting because it's an awesome initiative to really bring together all four counties, Hampden, Hampshire, Franklin, and Berkshire, and look at the resources, look at the holes, and look at how we partner the resources and the holes to make things effective for businesses and nonprofits and individuals who live in our beautiful Western Mass 413 area. And so the podcast is just one part of it. I am still looking. If you are interested in being on the podcast or know someone who is, please reach out. Please be patient. I'm a little backed up, which is great. It's not a bad problem to have, but please be patient. I will get back to you. But the email you can inquire is bizbuzz@livinglocal413.org. And that is 1Z and then 2. So BIZBUZZ, bizbuzz@livinglocal413.org. And today is not only a special day because I have a cool guest, but a special day because it's something special for the cool guest. So my guest today is Maura Lessard. She's a registered nurse, a certified case manager, and an aging life care professional, probably the longest title I've had on the show so far. And the company is Nurse Advocates. But really importantly, today is your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. And you're looking fabulous at 29 forever. It's funny that without knowing, I picked today, your birthday, to have you on the show. And the reason I think it's ironic is because I think as women, right, we always say that. We say like, oh, I'm 29 again. And I don't. I tell people all the time, like, I am 50 and I am proud of it. And I'm proud every day because I think, and it goes right in line with what you do for work, Maura, the idea that aging is a blessing. Because the alternative, I don't want to try it, but I've heard the alternative is like, dirt and bugs. And, so like, happy birthday. Celebrate it, girl. It's your day.
Yay. Yay. And I do.
I'm so glad. Congratulations. Well, tell me a little bit. So I know you're a registered nurse and you're an advanced aging life care professional and also like so much you're board certified in case management and specifically dementia. And really the role that you play is that you guide individuals and the families, the caregivers, the people who support, through this really, and personally I can speak to this really confusing and fragmented healthcare system. And you do that through Nurse Advocates. So 30,000-foot view, Maura. What is Nurse Advocates and what does that really all mean to the me and the them that are listening?
Yeah, well, it really means that as a single point of contact and really an individual and family's trusted medical mentor, we're liaison partnering with them so that they're really, the main thing is that they be heard, that what matters most to them gets heard by the healthcare team, and that they receive all of the information necessary to make informed decisions. My goal is to, help them with that through advocacy and care coordination, as well as being sure that they remain as independent as possible. Absolutely. If they're able to make informed decisions, then we have to listen to what their needs are. So really guiding people through the whole healthcare system. As you said, try to simplify and through education and support them throughout. And this can happen whether I get a crisis call from the hospital or family. The loved one can be in the home, in assisted living, in rehab, in a nursing home. It's just being that person, that one person who exists in the healthcare arena who can pull everything together.
Well, that's the key, I think, because and I said personally, I've been going through this on two fronts. One, my wife's mom, my mother-in-law lives with us and is in first 2 years of her Alzheimer's diagnosis, and we're finding it's there's so everything like that word fragmented just hit me because it is. It's like, well, go here for this and go there for that and go over there for this and fill this out, and then you're like, but I filled that out, and nothing. You have to fill it out and fill it out and fill it out, and it's. But then I'm also dealing with it in Florida with my father and his wife. And so it's no better anywhere in the country right now. It's confusing across the board. One thing I noticed when I was doing some research on you is that Nurse Advocates you're in your 7th year of business. So congratulations. You've gotten over
Thank you.
that what they say 3-year hump of a new business. But I imagine when I think about the past 7 years, immediately what comes to mind is we've gone through COVID and a pandemic. We have a bigger aging population from what I understand in my research than ever before. So over the 7 years from when you started, Maura, to now, what have you seen change for the good or the challenging, and how do you navigate that with families?
I think the change that I unfortunately, I think I only have one positive thing to say about the change right now, which is people are starting to recognize, providers are starting to recognize that there are people such as me that can assist individuals and families. It's just starting. There's still so much education that needs to happen. But right now, with the senior population increasing, we are seeing more dementia, just because there's more folks, and of course other issues. But there's a challenge with what happens when somebody's in the hospital. When do they go? Communication overall, every step of the way from setting to setting, any transition right now is tough. It's tough because we're short of providers. Providers have more pressure on them to spend less time with clients, with patients. When we start getting into transitioning, if somebody needs rehab or even a bed in the hospital, somebody might be in the emergency room for 2 days because there's no beds to have them admitted. There may not be a bed for them to then go to rehab. So they're staying in the hospital and decompensating because of the fact that they're really not moving around.
Right.
And they're not starting the rehab process. And then again, transitioning to home, when can they get into their providers, their doctor's appointments? So lack of beds, lack of providers, decreased time in really spending time with somebody to make sure they're giving them all the information, which comes from a variety of places. But how do you know you need information from one place and another place to make an informed decision? So those are some of the things that I'm seeing, and it's horrific when it comes to medication reconciliation.
Oh my gosh,
Every step of the way, every transition, somebody needs to look and reconcile those medications. Do not think that because they are in your medical system and your record already, because you've told people at every healthcare appointment, every provider appointment, what medications you're on. The systems don't always eliminate past medications. And the hospital per se might not have a change that happened 2 days ago at a provider office.
And one hospital system doesn't always talk with, I just dealt with this recently with a friend who was brought into one hospital system by, emergency, and it wasn't his normal hospital system. So there was this lack of information, and and the names of these medications. I mean, holy, I still have my cognitive ability and I can't remember half the things I'm on. It's so, I definitely write things. My mother-in-law has a good list now in her purse, and we keep it updated. Like anytime something changes, I say, give me the list, and we make a new one. And that's so important. One of the things that I think is fascinating too, that I imagine is even more of a change now than we were seeing 7 years ago or even prior, is the what was more of the family unit, like being, my case is very unique, right? Like most times laws and in-laws and parents and stuff aren't living in the home. And the children that are the caregivers, like in my case with my father, they're in Florida. And so there is a wicked disconnect. I mean, I'm blessed that I fly down once a month to be with them and try to help out with things. But if not, and somebody has parents here and they're in, and I get this a lot. I get people who are listening to this podcast because they're living in Colorado right now, but they are a 413 native and their family is here. So if you're listening outside of Massachusetts, outside of Western Massachusetts, and you have aging parents, Maura's who you need to talk to. And I'm not selling you, but
No.
Maura, and I say
Or
that,
one of us.
yeah,
There's several people within the area or even outside the area that do what I do. So
right.
going to the Life Care Association, you can find who's here. And I encourage people to interview,
Oh, that's a good
many
idea. I
people.
like
Oh,
that.
personality is such a factor, right? These people have to trust you instantaneously. And that's not scientifically how it works with trust. So having a personality that matches up,
Right.
I'm very direct. That may not work for everybody,
You said, I
right?
think I cut you
So
off. You're very what?
I'm very direct,
Okay. No,
very direct,
I
and
heard what you
that might
said.
not work for everyone.
I love that. No, and you're right, because some people need that and others need more of that, like just, kind of supportive. You mentioned something that I want to touch upon because you mentioned the Aging Life Care Association, which is the ALCA, different than there's a lot of letters and people, I'm like ALCA. So tell me, because this is, I think is important. You're not just, and I say this very politely, but you're not just some wingnut who's like, hey, I like
Oh yeah,
old
no.
people and I'm going to help old people, right? This is your uh, educated career, but then there's these associations that you're a part of and belong to. So tell me a little bit about some of those.
And I think I'm one of the only aging life care professionals out here who is associated with many organizations, all of whom provide standards of practice
Mm,
as well as code of ethics. So
okay.
I have standards of practice and code of ethics just being a registered nurse, and that advocacy is grounded in my profession. But the Aging Life Care Professional Associate, the Aging Life Care Association, the Case Management Society of America, and also the National Association of Healthcare Advocates. I'm a member of all three of those and follow their standard of practice and ethical guidelines. Some are very similar, but there are differences.
Thank you for that. And I want you to tell me a little bit more about them, but I just want you to hear how, as someone with an aging set of parents in different states, how important that is, because I feel like there's still a lot of wild, wild west in this space. And again, out of COVID became some career-based people that maybe don't have credentials, if you will. So, if, to the listener, please do that homework, beyond having, if you're listening and it's for your parent, having them interview the caregiver or the advocate, having them do that interview part, but then you as their child or their caregiver, their loved one, do that research to make sure that this person, even if they like them, that this person is like legit, not just some Yahoo off the bus.
Absolutely. And I think that initial conversation often really secures whether that's going to be a relationship, because it's very much a partnership. We don't come in and just do things, we partner together. Being sure that from a communication perspective in this confusing healthcare system, sometimes just people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So I find in that initial conversation, my goal, and it's not really something that's in the forefront of my mind, it just happens, is to build their confidence. Here's what you've done. You're on the right track. Let me give you a little information for the next step. And you kind of tease this out really quickly. You are more than capable of going to this next step, but here's the education and the empowerment that I'm going to provide to you. Go do what you need to do and call me back if you need to.
I love that. I don't know if you know what I do when I'm not, podcasting. I actually own a company called Pop More, and I do confidence coaching and training. And I think it's so valuable at every age and every stage. I think there is room for growth within our own personal confidence, because we have these societal norms, right? And so somebody that is aging, unfortunately, there's these societal norms. Like, I've gone to appointments with my mother-in-law, to doctor's appointments, and the doctor talks to me. I'm like, she's sitting right here. You can talk to her.
Look at her.
Right.
Yes. But you've helped her put together the questions prior to that appointment.
Absolutely.
Right. So you partner with that so that you're on the same page. But yes, and that's part of keeping people as independent as possible and advocating for them to be able to express what matters most to them. So yes, I am forever redirecting providers.
So so you literally will go to an appointment with someone if that's what a part that they need?
Oh, absolutely. Anywhere from telephonic, coaching to and management to I call it boots on the ground.
Okay.
Whatever is needed. I'll get a call from. I was in the emergency. I actually went to the beach on Saturday, and when I got home, I took a quick shower and went to see my client in the emergency room until 1 o'clock in the
Wow.
morning. Now, that's not always the case. They may not need to, but the family was out of town. And I knew there were going to be a lot of questions. And I also knew, she's in the process of deciding whether she's going to go palliative care.
Okay.
So the emergency room will automatically start doing all these tests without really even understanding what's going on. So I can be there to help educate them along. She happens to be alert and oriented, so things were fine. But guess what? At 11 p.m., it was recognized that their medication list was wrong.
Oh, God, Maura, thank goodness you were there.
And I had a typed list, and she did not, even though, it was encouraged to bring a typed list. So
Wow.
those breakdowns happen. There's a lot of gaps, communication gaps.
Yeah. Well, and I was in the emergency room with someone recently. And I can tell you that the fear of those who aren't able to be there, like I wasn't in a professional role like you serve, but I was there as a support person. And this individual has family all over the country. And so what you were able to do for your client on, at the ER is so valuable because their family is scared because they're not there. And so you're able to to bridge that communication gap so that it's like the client, your client, the patient can relax because
scared.
Maura's got it. Maura's telling, and Maura's telling the kids, don't worry, Maura, I'm Maura, and in this case, Amy can be any, advocate, but yes. So again, I always have too much to ask, but I wanted to, you were recently featured, and I'm going to try to put the link in. I always say try because I never know if I can actually make it happen. But you were recently featured in the Longmeadow Neighbors magazine, and the article was actually written by my pal Seth Stutman. So
yay, it was so cool! Like, what a great publication! It's wonderful. I feel so honored.
But there was something that I read, and I was like, okay, tell me about this. So it said, you, Maura Lessard, might be better known as her moniker as Matt Mom, Nurse Maura, or by Missy Murphy. And, we know enthusiastic, energetic, compassionate. We know all that about you, but tell me what's Matt Mom, Nurse Maura, and Missy Murphy about? I got to know.
Some people just say, Nurse Maura when they're referring to me doing my job, or, with friends, like, okay, Nurse Maura just showed up, because I usually have something to say, right? Whether it's their parents going through something or themselves. I feel I have the education to offer, and I do. So some of my friends will call me out and say, okay, Nurse Maura, let's get off this subject, or I heard you, whatever it might be. Missy Murphy came from, I was actually adopted, and my brothers were in the back seat with me when I was coming home as an infant, and they called me Little Miss Maura. It turned into Missy. So everybody from, I'd say, high school, before high school, called me Missy. That was my nickname. I love that. And some people still do. So it's funny. I have Missy, and it was Missy Murphy, so I can be Missy Murphy or Maura Lessard.
Well, and then, I want to do a quick shout out because you are one of the most passionate people I know around advocacy for those in the aging generation. Right. Tell me, what is the one thing in your life that you would say is equal, if not maybe a smidge above, to your passion for advocacy for aging individuals?
Oh, yeah, my beautiful son, of course. But, my friends, we didn't get to the Matt moms. I think, and especially I see this in women. I have the most supportive group of people in my world. And my Matt moms are because all our kids wrestled together on the mat. We remained friends. The boys all wrestled together at East Longmeadow High School. And it was just so cool. And they're wonderful people. But this circles back to your circle of support. It's a huge part of what I do with people, especially with our aging population. Mm-hmm. They have neighbors that are willing to do things for them. They don't want to ask. They feel that those people are a burden because guess what? They may have just gotten their knee replaced, or they might have cardiac stuff. And what I do is work with them to really identify everybody has a role. We feel good. When we go get invited to dinner at somebody's house, we feel good to bring something. So people want to help. So we spend a lot of time teasing that out. And I usually have a list of who those people are.
I love that.
And can help direct what is needed. Can you come on Tuesday afternoons for 2 hours? They want to. Yeah. And guess what? They're going to need that same support. So yes, we are going back to the days of you need to have that community. It takes a
1000%.
village.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I love the Mat Moms. And by the way, I was an East Long Meadow kid, so woohoo, Spartans.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's invaluable that you have a strong support system. And I will say with that, if you're capable, if you have the ability or where you live allows it, I know you have Charlie and Smudge, your two
Yeah.
cats. And
They were
I
just
think
walking. You
yeah,
just saw
I saw tails going across. But I think that, Charlie and Smudge are part of this process. And when someone is aging, if they're able, again, there's qualifications and you can help them walk through this, but maybe a small dog or a cat, because animals bring a sense of joy.
Wait till you hear this. So right now with a client, I've just put together resources so that she had to leave her house and she's at a facility, but her cat got let out and it's missing.
Oh
So
no.
I just pulled together a network of people and we're going to find the cat and be sure that he
Oh,
gets to the vet for any issues he may have because he's been out for a little while.
oh,
So
Maura, thank
yeah, so
you.
we just put together a whole network and we're putting it into motion shortly.
I love that you are, I mean, literally full service. So we do have to wrap
But
up,
whatever
but
it takes,
yeah, exactly.
medical, legal. Yeah, I'm doing one of my other people has, yeah, I'm meeting with a contractor this afternoon because he's not able,
Oh,
he has to get back into his condo and he needs some work done.
we didn't even get into it, but I'm assuming, you're not the legal expert, but within your circle of resources, like, we met recently for my mother-in-law with our family attorney to talk about estate planning and all of that. And so, and also things like guiding people what is a power of attorney? What is a healthcare proxy? When is a will necessary? What kind of assets? What, where, how, there's all that. And so, I know, Maura, you can direct people to the right,
My role, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's my role to find the resources. Everybody's different, but it's whatever it takes to, again, keep them as independent as possible. So it's the medical piece, long-term care insurance, and whatever resources, private care, visiting nurses, rehab, whatever they need. Yeah, I help coordinate, and then those are the experts who provide the direct service.
It's just amazing. And truly, as someone who's going through this, I can say if you're, not if you're listening, because you're listening, once at some point you're going to have to go through this for someone. And please know that, a Maura or a Maura like Maura is absolutely invaluable because the answers are there, but they're sometimes hard to find. So before we wrap up, I know that as people struggle, they can get frustrated. And I think the biggest problem is people don't even know what you do exists. So tell us how people can find nurse advocates and then specifically how they can connect with you, Maura.
Oh, sure. I mean, just call me 413-237-5724. Our website is that's my email, nurseadvocatesllc.com.
All right. And I will, again, try to put everything in the chat or into the feature about the podcast. So thank you. Today's guest, in case you missed who she was, is Maura Lessard, a registered nurse, a certified case manager, and an aging life care professional with Nurse Advocates. It also happens to be her birthday. Happy birthday, Maura.
Thank you.
This is BizBuzz 413. I am your host, Jill Monson. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in our community. We have just the best. Western Massachusetts rocks. And as I close every episode, I want to say, remember, when you wake up in the morning and the sun is shining or the rain is coming down, it doesn't matter because you can say, I live in the best part of the entire country right here in Western Massachusetts and the 413.
BizBuzz 413 was brought to you by Living Local.